Hey guys, my name is Byron and this is another Artist Series interview at the Sound Co. And today I am joined by artist, producer and songwriter Jungleboi. How's it going, man?
What's up, man?
It's good to have you here.
Good to be here.
Well,
thank you for having me.
It's good to be in your space because I'm
Yeah,
in your
actually,
space.
yeah, you're the alien.
Exactly. So we wanted to chat to you about all things songwriting, producing, collaboration with artists and things like that.
All right.
Your own journey through the music industry. So first of all, tell us about how things got started for you.
For me, it was I started out playing, piano and drums from when I was little, from like church and stuff. Grew up in church and was playing in church and singing and all of that. That's kind of where it all started for me. My mum was a singer. Followed on from that, I started writing songs. As I grew older, the writing carried on, and I literally went from just writing songs to making beats on the first keyboard that I had, and to literally inviting anyone that I knew from like around the block. It's like, oh, you sing? You what? Yeah, come in. Let's just do something. I didn't even have like any gear or anything. But it was just I just had the keyboard, and I'd make those beats on there, and and I'd record people, I'd record myself on cassettes, and that's kind of how I started, really.
So even at that stage, was there a moment where you went, okay, this is the career path that I want to choose, or did it kind of just naturally spiral into a career?
It definitely, at that point, from even before that, I knew that this is what I wanted to do when I got older. I didn't know of any producers or any writers personally. It's just I was just like, I really love this. I want to be the person that makes all these things.
Yeah.
And I didn't mind being behind the scenes and stuff. It wasn't as glamorous as it is now, where you've got all these producers all
Who are the artists?
Yeah, who are the artists? Yeah. And they're always in front of the camera, and they're the stars and whatnot. It was nothing like that.
Right.
At that point, it was just I loved it so much, and I just wanted to do it.
How many years ago we're talking?
Revealing trade. Yo, going in deeper than the CIA, bro. That was 16 years ago, maybe 17.
Okay. So you've been at this game for time then?
Actually, it was more than that.
We can say 16 if you don't. That's a good amount.
So it's been a while. It's been a while.
Cool.
But obviously there was a whole learning procedure that came after that. It's like you have in your head what you want to do, what you want to become, but between there and then there was a lot of things that kind of had to take place, which is obviously a lot of growth. I had to develop. I had to really learn my craft. I had to source people in my life that could help mentor me and get to a point where I can actually create music
and make a living from it.
Yeah,
that's the big. That's the thing that we're all trying to do. At the end of the day,
that's the thing I'm still trying to figure out.
Make our way in the world by creating art.
That's right.
Which is crazy when you think about it. We're literally pulling ideas out of thin air,
nothing, and just
and somehow making money. Hopefully.
That's always a very surreal thing, man. When it's like you get an idea in your head, you make it into something, it becomes a song, and then someone takes it, comes out, going to a concert and actually seeing people sing your song, and they have no idea that you're involved in it, and they're all just like, this is the best thing ever. It's
exactly.
so weird.
That's crazy,
It was just an idea in my head. It wasn't there before.
So tell us about that process. I mean, like going from a song concept of like maybe it's a beat on your phone, or it's a an idea of a chord progression or something. Tell us about your creative process from concept to reality.
Right. Yeah, I feel like for me, I believe that I get a lot of ideas in my head, and I believe that whenever I hear these ideas in my head, they sound great. They sound like hit songs. Sometimes I hear the entire production and the whole song, and so what I'm trying to do then in the studio is literally recreate what's in my head. I always believe in my head, like as I'm hearing it is perfect. It's just how it's meant to be. Like that's the hit right there. Now getting it out exactly how I'm hearing it in my head. That's the tricky part.
That's the in between.
And that's really hard to do, because it's like you can hear something exactly how it should go and whatnot, but trying to make it sound like that in real life, I feel like for me that's where I find the difficulty. That's how a lot of my songs come. But at the same time, there's the other side where I do like just starting without even thinking of something. I just play and see what chords my hands kind of go to, and then literally go with that mistake, if you want to call it.
Sure.
You know,
Or maybe like a sound triggers an
sounds
idea.
trigger ideas a lot as well.
Yeah.
So I love playing around with new synths and new
synths.
No, synths are amazing because especially when you've got new sounds, man, they just it really inspires you. In fact, sometimes you have one sound and it inspires the whole song. You know, and that's happened to me quite a few times as well. So I'm a big believer in trying out, you know, a lot of new synths and new plugins even.
Well, hopefully we'll be hearing some of our sampled synth sounds on the new Jungleboi track.
And I can't wait to you know, really dig my hands into them. You know, I've played around with some of them and definitely excited.
Sick. So you mentioned talking us through your creative process, but what does the day-to-day look like in the life of Jungleboi?
Yeah, that's a good question. Nowhere like my Instagram.
The highlight reel.
A lot more boring than that. But like, so usually when I wake up, I mean, I do go to bed about 3, 4 almost every day.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So I wake up.
What time are you waking up?
I wake up about 9:30, 10.
That's not a lot of sleep, man.
It's not a lot of sleep. And
how's your wife feel about that?
Yeah, she is not an early sleeper herself. She's
okay.
on it and working on her things until crazy late. So it works out.
Okay.
Works out.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's a mutual agreement on that, my
yeah.
wife is like, if I'm not getting my 8 hours, man, like...
No, we're definitely not 8-hour people. So, you know, it's kind of, it works out.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. So basically, you know, I go to bed around that time and I'm up about 10. I like to read, you know, and see just sort of like what's, you know, who's doing what, who's, you know, check out some of the new songs. And I like doing that in the mornings and stuff whilst my ears are still fresh. And then just seeing what people are releasing and things like that, just so I don't completely lose touch
track
of
what's happening.
What's going on out there. The intention is never really to, you know, do what everyone else is doing, but I want to be aware of what everyone else is doing, just so sonically I'm still in the same time frame, because
sounds good.
I believe, you know, you can approach production in many different ways, but sonically it has to fit in with what's going on in that era.
Totally.
And that's more what I'm always trying to fit in with. Not so much the styles and the genre, but more the sonics of what's going on now.
Yeah, cool.
So and you know what? Sometimes I'll find things that really inspire me and I'm like, this is so dope. Like I'm gonna make another song. It doesn't mean I'm gonna make a song like that, but it releases that same chemical, and so I'm in a place where I feel like I'm ready to go. So I think it's important to always have those triggers. And so I try and find them within other people's music and with songs I already know, always give me that feeling, and just different things like that. So that's kind of what I do in the mornings, and that's if I'm not having a session with somebody.
Cool. Yeah.
That's if I'm just
doing your thing.
Yeah, doing my thing. And I'm just going to create you know, ideas that I might use in sessions later, or that I might use for my own songs.
Going back to what you said about looking at what other people are doing in the world. It can be so easy in this day and age to fall into a trap of comparing yourself, of comparison, especially the Instagram age. Everything's like, oh wow, they're doing this, and why aren't I doing that? How do you kind of battle that?
So one of the things that I do like to say even to my wife is just the whole, you know, like the Instagram thing. Don't try to go on it in the mornings, because I used to find that it's a trap, man. You know, like you wake up in the morning and you reach for your phone, it's the first thing you do, and then next thing you know, it's like half an hour later, you're still scrolling down, and all everybody's doing is showing you, like, you know, the best moments of their lives, and you're looking at that like, oh my God, he's really like living the life, like he's doing this, like, is he?
And I'm staring at the ceiling.
And you start feeling rubbish about yourself, and it just puts you in a state of mind that doesn't set you up to win for the rest of that day. And unfortunately, that becomes a lifestyle, and then you start comparing yourself with everybody else, and you're not getting on with what you're supposed to be doing, and you're watching everybody else's lane. You're not running your own lane, and so for me, I decided that, you know, that's a trap, and so I don't do that in the mornings. Instagram, I try and ignore that in the mornings. And even when I do go on it, it's briefly. I'm mostly going it to post something, and I like the first few things that come up. But I don't actually for myself.
It's good to have limitations. I recently just the new iOS, you can put time limitations on apps, and I'm like, well, okay, I'm going to give myself half an hour limit every day if I use it or not.
Right.
Of Instagram, just so I have the purpose of like I'm going on there and I'm just going to post my content.
Right.
And I'm off the platform.
Yeah, that's very good. That's very good. That
Yeah.
I love that iOS thing because every Sunday when it gives me a new update, I'm always looking at it to see if I've bettered my Instagram time.
Yeah.
And for me, it's about Instagram. I don't use Facebook as much.
Yeah.
So Instagram is what I'm always trying to cut down.
What's your Instagram handle?
It's ITS Jungleboi.
ITS Jungleboi.
Yeah. So I don't say it's Jungleboi because everyone's like, oh, it's Jungleboi. Jungleboi. I'm like, no, it's ITS Jungleboi.
Right. Yeah.
It's Jungleboi.
Yeah. So make sure you check that out. Check out his content. Give it a follow. He's got some really great song previews on there as well. Your latest track, Sin is Suicide, is that the one that's most recent?
Yeah, so the most recent one is Sin is Suicide, the stripped version, right?
Oh, there's a YouTube of that as well, isn't there?
Yeah,
we'll link that down below because it's a
YouTube
sick track.
or the Facebook. So yeah, what's pretty exciting about that song is put that out a few months back because I've been kind of putting out a song every month for 2 months, and
nice. It's a good goal.
Yeah, and that's been fun. So I put that out, and then I put another song out called Prisoner. Then put out the acoustic video of Sin is Suicide, and I kind of started doing really well. And so thought, you know what, we'll just release the acoustic version of Sin is Suicide too.
Yeah.
And that did better than the original.
Wow. Does that say something about the audience, that people are kind of really into more minimal, more organic
Overall,
things?
I find that if you have a good acoustic song, people are into that more.
Yeah. Okay.
Like they just appreciate acoustic songs or stripped down songs, where they can hear someone's raw kind of vocal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's never really raw though, is it? But but they like that perceived stripped. I'm right there. It's personable, and I feel like people really do like that more.
Okay.
However, you will most times have a bigger hit with the song with production.
Of course, yeah. And that's what the labels and the publishers want to...
That's what the radios want to... That's what, it's not often that you have an acoustic song or strip that becomes a worldwide hit.
Yeah.
It does happen, but it's not the norm.
What kind of advice would you give to somebody these days who wants to start a career in the music industry, whether that be in producing or being an artist or anything like that?
I mean, first of all, I think it's important to be able to play some sort of instrument. Guitar or piano, I think, are some of the most important instruments that you at least need to be able to play to become a songwriter, producer. Yes, we are in the digital age where, there's a lot of people who program their beats and tracks and stuff like that, using Ableton and all sorts of programs. But I think it gives you more versatility if you can actually play an instrument like the piano or guitar, especially piano / keyboard, because you can use that to program a whole range of things and play in a whole range of instruments. So I think, first of all, learn an instrument. I think that's very important. Understand the basics of music. You don't have to be get some classical degree or anything like that, but understand the basics of music and the basics of programming and sound and all of that. I think that's important. Then on the practical side of the music business side, I think you need to be able to really be great at assessing self-assessment and like how good is my stuff really, and play it to a lot of people, like what do you think of this, and get feedback and really listen to what's going on out there and see if your stuff actually matches up in terms of sonically, does it sound as good, does it because I think it's important who you play to as well, because don't play to your mom. Don't play to your dad.
They're gonna love everything. I think I mentioned that on a previous video. Seek out creative criticism from
absolutely
honest and loyal people.
Yeah. I think that's very important, and then just and then from there on, it's about, I think we're in a good age because we're in a streaming age, which doesn't make a lot of money in terms of publishing, but it does if you own your masters. So, and it's very easy to get the stuff on these platforms. So then just put your stuff out, man. On SoundCloud, on whatever, like just Spotify, all these platforms that we have. Put this stuff out. I think that's very, very, very important, especially in this age where the consumers are just like hungry and constantly eating everything up, And yes, it is saturated, but at the same time, you know, if you put your stuff out and really aim to get on a playlist, I think that really changes the game.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine say to me recently, like, you've really just got to get some skin in the game. Like, if you're forever sitting on the bench and you've got all your ideas held up on a hard drive somewhere, then they're never going to get heard because,
Absolutely.
you know, and I know that for me personally, you know, the fear of not being perfect, perfectionism can hold you back creatively. But then if you're constantly sitting on the bench with these ideas, then you're just no one's ever going to hear anything. So even if it's like you say, just starting out, getting your ideas out there, because hopefully progression is going to mean that your current ideas are going to be better than yesterday's.
That's right, absolutely.
And I think that's the journey of any producer or any creative. Like as you said earlier, that you started out just kind of making beats on a keyboard and inviting friends over and a really like humble beginning. But gradually those things like recording things to cassette tape, if you grew up in the 90s, I remember like layering, you know, one track from one cassette to the next
that's
cassette
what I used to do.
and back and forth.
And that was my multi-tracking.
It's crazy, man.
And it's funny, you know, going back to that perfection thing you're talking about, I've had this conversation a lot of times with friends, and I always say it this way. I'm like, it's I see it as an ego thing too, right? Like for me, that's how I saw it. I'd be holding on to all these songs and all this stuff. I didn't want to put any material out, you know, and it's like, you know, I'm working on it, well, it's got to be right, it's got to be perfect, it's got to be perfect. Because in my head, when I really think about it, it's like, I wanted my stuff to come out and completely blow people away. Like, oh my God, you were amazing. Like, how did you? Do you know what I mean? And I was like, no, you know what? Eventually, I realized I need to put my ego aside and be like, you know what? It's okay to come out and fail. Yeah, it's okay to come out and a few people like the song, but it doesn't have that massive impact. It's fine. Just put it out. I'm a creator. I'll make another song, you know, and do another one and do another one. And then I started looking at some of my, you know, heroes, some of my favorite producers and writers and whatnot. And I was like, wait, but you look at their first 7 things that they put out. It's not necessarily the greatest stuff. Some people, it just happens like that. But with most people, it's not their greatest work. And yet, they still put it out. And now they're some of the greatest people ever. But, you know, if they didn't put out that first work, they, you know, they wouldn't have got there. And so why do I think, you know, my first thing has to be that thing that the whole world is going to bow down to? Mate, that's just huge. My ego. And so I think when I started to lay that aside and just be okay with people criticizing my work and it not being the greatest thing ever, that was freeing and liberating, and that's what made me empowered to actually start putting out songs. That's
such a huge lesson that anyone could take away, and not even just people in the music industry, but you know, photographers or graphic designers or any kind of creative.
And any kind of creative, especially creative, because that's really the kind of what we do as creatives is a very hard job, because you're literally putting yourself out all the time to people saying, hey, like, this is my work, like, what do you think?
It's a piece of your heart, really, isn't it?
I've made this, like, I think it's amazing. What do you think? You know, whereas in other jobs, you know what I mean? In other jobs, it's not the same. It's like you're working and it's you're not presenting something that you've created and putting out for the whole world to criticize, to say whether they like it or not. It's just It's a very personable kind of,
It's super scary, but I love what you said earlier of like putting out a song a month. Right, is a really good goal, a really good aim. How do you find like juggling all the other artists that you're working with and sessions that you're doing, and then still finding time to do your own stuff and put out content on your own deadline?
I think at first it was quite easy because I had a few songs kind of
in the bank,
sort of lined up. Now I'm like, but it's just because all the stuff I've been doing, you know, is I try and collaborate with different people on every song, and so I think what's a bit tricky is sometimes finding the right features, and then people pull out different, you know, labels and different, you know, disagree and things and whatnot. So it becomes a bit of a this song that we had that was going to come out this time is not coming out now, and now what we're going to do. And so but at the same time it's good because it really drives me to, you know, always be creating because I think sometimes you can get a bit lax about
and like you said earlier, the when you're creating ideas, those ideas, like if they don't get used in that moment, they can still be like an idea in the bank for, hey, some other songwriter comes along or some other kind of vocalist might come along that really suits the track. Yeah. And then you're like, hey, I've got a vibe for you.
Yeah. No, that's right. That's right. That's right.
And so nothing goes to waste.
No, not at all. Not at all. Because a lot of my sessions, I do like to start from scratch. But sometimes, you know, so other writers will just prefer, have you got an idea? Have you got some sort of beat? And I'm like, yeah, actually I do. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. And it always means you walk into a session a bit more confident.
Yeah. I guess. You're just sort of prepared in every way. Yeah. I never have like full, you know, productions all ready, but ideas. Because then I like creating it with whoever I'm working with. Then it makes them more involved in it, and it feels like you're really creating something together. Yeah. Rather than, you just built something and you're trying to mold me into it.
I see what you're saying, yeah. So over the years of your career, you've worked with many different artists and quite a few household names, guys like the Black Eyed Peas, Craig David, Peter Andre, which you had a gold record for, I believe, which is pretty sweet. Working with like, you know, all these kind of artists and things like that, and then you're probably working with a lot of unknown artists and indie artists as well.
Loads,
how do you approach your sessions when it comes to collaboration? So what for you makes a quality collaboration?
I love collaborating, and I think what makes a great collaboration is when you have an artist that's quite open and a producer or writer that's open to basically open to whatever works great for the song. Because what makes a not great collaboration is when you go into the room and you know, everyone's got these egos or preconceived ideas of this is what needs to be, and this is what it has to sound like, and they're not open to, you know, suggestions, or there's no room for, you know, what anyone else thinks. If you're gonna have a great collaboration, you both need to be in a place where there's always an end goal, but you're both quite flexible and willing to, you know, adapt and hear things in a different way that you may not have heard it, and just be open to suggestions. I believe that's what makes great collaborations. And there's not a lot of people. Okay, there is, but at the same time, there's a lot of people that are not really open to that kind of thing, that don't work well with others. Wow. And so artists and producers have to work together a lot. That's common. But when you have more than one producer or more than one artist, that can be an issue. Okay. And so I just come with the approach of, like, what do you want to do? Like, I want to do whatever it is you want to do, and, you know, I got some ideas too. If you're open to some of my ideas, you know, we can make something great. And and when it does work out, it's really good. But there's times that it really doesn't work out.
Sure. What do you do when it really doesn't work out? You kind of just like, okay, nice to meet you.
I mean, there's been sessions where, you know, like, you know, managers have been called and you know, people have to fake phone calls and, oh, really? I got to do that? And okay, this just happened. I'm not saying I've done it, or maybe I have. But, you know, like literally, you know, people pull you out of sessions, and some people just say outright, like, oh, you know what, I don't feel like this is working, and then, you know, end the session, and or you just push through and you just have a terrible song. Yeah. But you both decide in your heads, we're never doing this again.
Yeah, right.
Might never say it to each other at the end of the session, yo, man, sweet, like, good to meet you. Like, you know, like, not nice to work with you, but good to meet you, man. You know, like, no, right. Like, you know, all the best, but you know that this is it. You never see them again.
So if we ever work together, I'll know the signs to look out for now. Oh no, my song sucks.
Nah, but I love what you do already, so it's so good. But are you collaborative?
Yeah, well, that is, mate. It's a tricky. It's a bit of a battleground, isn't it? Because, like you say, you can have egos clash. And especially creative egos can be so strong. It's got to go this way, it's got to go that way, and I find, like, especially you know, when I work with different artists in my studio, it really can go either way, but the best sessions are always the artists that come in and go, hey, help me work on my song, you know, and you come with open hands, and those are the sessions that always create the better vibe. As soon as people come in and go, no, I don't like that idea, I don't like this, and they shoot you down on every point. Then it's kind of like, it's not good.
I feel like people, you know, sometimes misconstrue, like, the whole idea of being collaborative as and being open to suggestions and see it as like you know, almost like a weakness and you know, a sign of you not knowing what you're doing. But that's not the case at all. It's just, I see it as completely the opposite. It's like you already have a vision in your head, but you're saying my idea is not necessarily the best idea, and I believe my idea could be stronger with your input because you're great at what you do too.
Yeah.
And people who do that a lot, I feel, have achieved some amazing results.
Right.
There are people who work amazingly by themselves, but for most people, I think collaboration is key.
Yeah, brilliant.
In fact, for pretty much anything in the world that's big,
That's
ever been achieved,
it's
that's
multiple
through
people.
collaboration.
It's a team effort.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So take us into the room. Like, what does it look like if you've got, so you're in the studio, you're producing, you've got an artist, you might have an extra songwriter in the room, and you might even have an engineer running the studio.
Right.
So take us into the room. What does it look like? How do you, as a producer, maybe as the one who's the main collaborator on a session,
right?
How do you navigate that? Like, say you've never met any of these people before.
So typically in studio sessions, the producer is like the one who's running the whole session, the one who's calling the shots per se.
Sure.
And so I like to create an environment where everyone feels comfortable. So like I joke around a lot and I do a lot of pranks. Like I've just always been like that.
What's one of your best pranks?
I can't even say what one of my best pranks is, but sometimes I'm so childish. I'll even do things like when you sneak up behind someone and make them jump or whatever. Like it's just I'm just silly like that, and I know that, but it does create a fun environment. I did it to this one girl, and she really jumped and was like so angry, and she's like how old are you? And I was like, that stuck in my head, man. I was like, wow, okay.
How did that session go?
Bad. It went well though. It went well. Yeah. We did a great song, and she's putting it out as a single. So anyway,
there you go. It wasn't a total disaster.
No, not at all. But all sorts of stuff, man. And actually, I just remembered one thing. It used to be this program that I used to use to control my computer in the studio from home and like remotely and whatnot.
All right.
And so one time I left the room and I logged onto this program on my phone and I started controlling my computer. And there was just an artist in the room by herself in the studio. And so like I went into this YouTube page that was talking about the dark ancient mystic spiritual blah blah blah. I don't know. I did already prepare it in advance. So I had it actually minimized. So then all I did was maximize it and press play, and then we started playing.
Oh my gosh!
And then I played all these crazy things, and she was like freaking out.
Sitting in the studio by herself,
completely freaking out. And then I go back into the room like nothing happened. I'm just like, because I actually said to her, listen, I'm going to play the song from start to end. Just make sure it plays without any problems because, the computer sometimes... She's like, yeah, cool, I got it. So she was watching my screen. Yeah. And then all of this happened. Go back onto the song. Yeah. Walk back into the room. White. Completely white.
Are you serious?
So, is the song okay? Oh my God, you won't believe what happened. It was amazing. Anyway, I don't know why that came to my head.
It
was amazing.
It's really dark, but yeah.
I forgot to tell her that I was joking as well, that I did it, and she went and told her family. And
oh gosh.
Anyway.
I bet she never wanted to go back to that studio. That studio's possessed, man.
She didn't come back for a while.
Oh dear. But tell us about some of the big collaborations that you've had. Yeah. So what's it like? Because you'll be kind of there with a publisher or a label, things like that.
So how you get into the room can really vary because sometimes it's one of the writers knows you and thinks you'd be really good for it, and they somehow involved in the project and they're like, I think this guy would be amazing for it, and then you just get this call. Sometimes it's it could be the label, sometimes publishers can put you forward. But basically, once you're in the room, if it's a really big artist, I tend to just let them kind of, do most of the talking and dictate the direction of where we're trying to go and what we're doing. But as a producer, I'm still running the session, really. They're still all going to look to me for
the sound
and the whole so
you're a bit more like you're producing like a ninja. You just
absolutely you have to be always aware of the room. You have to always read how everybody's feeling. It's very important to, especially when it comes to when you start making new sounds, you start playing chords, you start playing synth lines, you're looking at people constantly just trying to see if they're vibing with anything that you're doing.
Yeah.
Because they only start writing once they feel like
A vibe.
there's a vibe. Yeah. And before that, it can be 10 minutes, 15 minutes before there's a vibe, and they just like sitting there twiddling their thumbs on their phones, on Instagram usually, whatnot. And then, you know,
and then something.
It's like, oh, that's kind of dope. Or like, yeah, I like that. Or if they don't say anything, you might hear them starting to hum, like, and they're getting ideas, and you know, okay, you know what, maybe I'm onto something.
You're on something.
Stay on that.
Yeah.
And try and like, you know, really develop on that. But it's because the worst is, you know, turning around and saying, do you guys like anything I'm playing?
And then it's like,
you don't want to do that. Huh? yeah, it's fine. Nah, it's not a vibe. Like, it needs to be more organic and more. But, you know, there's loads of times when it gets to that point where it's like, it's been half an hour and, you know, nothing's really happening, and you kind of have to start again and be like, so like, I don't know, like, what are you guys kind of thinking?
Yeah, what do you feel?
You know what I mean? And yeah. But
how do you cope with that kind of pressure? Because I think working with an indie artist who maybe isn't backed by a label, it's probably a lot less pressure in a session where you can just chuck any ideas out and see what comes back. But working with major label artists is a whole different story. How do you cope with the pressure of like, I'm here to perform?
I think it's just that I feel like the pressure does help me to create better material on the spot, and also I think just really that conversation, that initial conversation, that communication helps establish the sentiment for the rest of the session and just how everything is going to go. So once you have that good rapport and you know, you set the mood for the room, I think it's quite easy then to just kind of read where people are going and create an initial idea which everyone can start writing to. Because a lot of times that initial idea does change and you know, the song ends up becoming something completely different. But it's about throwing out things all the time though. Like, don't stop. I think when you do stop, that's when everything just goes. The energy just goes down.
Get into a stalemate.
And try not to play other people's songs a lot.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. Yeah. I feel like it just detracts from what you're trying to do, and then you just go into this whole mode of, okay, it needs to be like this, and you're trying to literally copy what someone else already did.
Like, I really like Ariana Grande's new song. Like, let's do a, you know, big vocal pop vibe. And it's like, okay, now you've suddenly you're very.
You know what? Like sometimes it will happen in the start of a session. They'll play a couple songs like that, cool. But then, what kills the vibe is, you know, you get sessions where then they keep going back to that song, like, you know, after like 10, 15 minutes. Play that song again. All right. Playing Ariana. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Great. Okay. Cool. Yeah. You see that sound she had? Oh my God. Okay. It's like, now are we actually trying to, you know, remake Ariana's song?
Right.
Now I don't think Ariana and her people were sitting there like constantly playing back Demi Lovato's song, or you know what I mean? And like what it's like, you kind of create something that you feel like is great, and you run with that and trust that, you know, you're good at what you're doing, and it's going to be a good song.
And that comes back to the point we talked about right at the start of what's in your head, and then coming out in your hands.
Yeah, absolutely. We're constantly listening to music and we're bombarded with all these things and whatnot. So you've developed a taste, you know, over a period of time. So that's filtered with, you know, everything you listen to and da. So when your brain then creates something, it's going to be great, but at the same time, it's already going to have a lot of elements of a lot of the things you listen to and whatnot, because it's, you know, it's filtered through that.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So,
but that makes up who you are musically, doesn't
exactly,
it?
Exactly.
Yeah, cool.
And so, I'm like, just go with that.
That's wicked, man. Okay, so with your songwriting from end to end, how long does it usually take from concept to finished product? What's the turnaround time frame of you getting a song out to the world?
So the initial part, I guess, has got to do with me, and that takes about, I'd say within a day we'd have like most of the song there. Production sounds mostly like what it's going to sound like, recorded all the vocals, the song's written, and that's normally within a day. But then I might spend another day finalizing the production, 2 at the most, but normally a day. Yeah, finalizing production, and then, you know, might go back and forth with revisions. You know, might be like, oh, can you change this? Or we don't like that snare, or we don't like. It's like, oh, well, how do you want the snare? It's like, oh, we wanted, you know, just a bit more edgier. Like, wait, sure. I know where to find edgy snares.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you know, that can go back and forth a little bit, but once that's done, so I'd say about 2-3 days really to get a song, you know, sounding great. But once that's done, then really the process can be long because usually then once, you know, the label actually decides, yeah, we're going with this song, which could take weeks, could take months. Yeah. Sometimes it can be, you know, immediately. Then there's a mix engineer that will get involved, and they'll choose who to send it to, and then you got to prepare the stems and all the files, send it out to the mix engineer. They'll usually take a day or 2 to kind of come back to you with the mix, and but then with the mix there might be revisions too.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes quite a few times. I remember actually seeing a song that had been mixed by Manny Marroquin, like, you know, who's a really big mix engineer, and like it was on M14, like mix 14.
Wow.
I was like, wow, man. Like,
so even a dude at his caliber is doing revision after revision.
Yeah.
That gives a lot of hope for us.
That made me feel like, you know what, it's okay. This is Manny, like, he's a G.
He's the man.
I rate him, man. And like, So it just depends, man. And so that process can be lengthy. It can be not too lengthy. And then after that, once everyone's happy with the mix, the artist, the producer, the label, then mastering. But then mastering, you know, that's the shortest process. At that point, then the song's ready. Then it's really up to the label when they plan on putting it out.
Yeah.
And so it can be from anything from like a few days to a few months.
Yeah. And that's like
the way is just
it's a reality
terrible.
check. And like putting it into terms of let's like, not that we're wanting to talk figures or money or anything like that, but you're basically working at the point of songwriting and producing. You're technically working for free until the song comes out, right?
You're working for free until the song comes out, and if it doesn't come out, you've just worked for free.
Wow.
That's it. So you can spend a whole year working on songs with artists, and at the end of the year, not make any money at all because none of the songs came out. Yeah. For different reasons.
Yeah.
You know?
So how do you navigate that? Like, because that's quite a big like hurdle for us in our industry. Is the whole, well, when am I actually going to make a living from this?
So that part is really tricky, and so that's when you're always trying to work out, you know, the sessions that you're actually going to do and what you're not going to do. Like, do you feel like this has got legs? Is there a project already in place and it's going somewhere? And do you think, you know, your sound could be something that really contributes to it and something that they are going to use? Or does it just seem like some sort of vanity project that might never see the light of day?
Sure.
And then, you know, who's pushing for it in the label, you know, that can determine whether I work on something or not. And there's always projects with people that are not signed, they're not really, you know, in the industry at that level. However, they've got some sort of funding and they're willing to pay for songs up front.
Right. Pay for your production time kind of thing.
Yeah. And so that's always good to have too.
Yeah.
Because that kind of, you know, balances it all out.
Yeah.
Then obviously there's things like, you know, publishing deals and things like that which help, because essentially they give you money for the next 3 years. Yeah. Right. You know, and so
to go sit in your corner and make tunes.
Basically, whether it really practically works like that or not, that's a whole different story. But that's essentially the idea, you know. Here's money for the next 3 years of your deal, and you know, now go make music.
So, I'm going to Cuba.
Actually, I remember one time, you know, one publisher did say to me, like, look, you know, it's a very scary business. You know, I could give you this massive publishing deal, and you could just F off to Cuba and or the Caribbeans and never write a song ever again. What can I do? And that is true. Like, they wouldn't be able to do anything about it. They can't sue you. They can't, you know what I mean? But it's a risk on their part. Yeah.
But then it's also like, you know, the music industry, everyone knows everyone, really. It's not like it's not a huge pool when you're at the top.
It's not.
So if you want to maintain your integrity at the
top. I don't really know people that have done that. Yeah, I think usually when you do get publishing deal, you know, you are someone that really is in it because you're trying to get stuff out there.
Of course, yeah. And if somebody is like, if someone's on the receiving end of a publishing deal, that's a dream come true for most songwriters. So they're going to be doing their utmost to be like,
to just kind of
make it happen.
Yeah.
So let's chat about maintaining your creative inspiration. I know for myself and for probably so many other songwriters and producers out there, that maintaining a momentum in your creativity can be such a struggle, that we do go through highs and lows of seasons of it. How do you navigate it when you find that you're like really uninspired? What do you do?
You know, sometimes it's cool to just like chill.
Yeah.
Because I do find that sometimes when I'm just like completely full on and going in, it's like I start to run out of inspiration and I feel like I'm just redoing the same songs in different sessions with different writers and, you know, artists and stuff. And so sometimes just taking a break and doing something different, you know, watching a movie or, you know, going and hanging out with friends, you know, that it tends to give me inspiration. And, you know, I find that I don't like doing that because I feel like it's taking me away from music and it's, you know, it's time that I could be spending making another song. But actually, you know, that time I spend away from it rejuvenates me again. And that's one thing. I also get a lot of inspiration from going to a place where there's music, like I'm not going to say a club, but, you know, like a bar or somewhere where there's like loud music, where I love watching people dance and seeing what's getting them really excited.
Okay.
Like, it's like a drug to me, man. I get this feeling of, I want to make something that's going to make people feel that same thing that they're feeling there, you know, and because I get the same feeling when I'm out and I hear a song and I'm like, I really literally get high off it. And I don't have to drink, I don't have to do anything. And I'm just like, I'm the most hyped person in there. I'm like, just because that's what I'm like. And and so when I come back in the studio after that, I always want to make something that's going to make people feel the same way that I feel when, you know, I'm in these kind of places.
It's a spark of inspiration, isn't it?
It is.
Because you end up going home from a night out like that going, I've got all these
I'm just buzzing, you know, and then I always make sure I record things on my phone, you know, full of voice notes, like many other writers and whatnot. It's just constantly use voice notes, ideas. Because the thing is, if I don't put them down, they go away. Yeah. And you're not always full of ideas. So when you do have a lot of I believe just always create. And I always take advantage of the times that I'm full of ideas because I know that this is not the case all the time. So then when I have run out of inspiration and I can't seem to get any more, I just go back to the bank of the inspired days.
When you did have that.
Yeah, and I just work on that. And then, you know, by the time I'm kind of sort of done working on that, usually the inspiration is back. Because now I've got these new great songs as well. So I don't feel like you have to constantly be inspired, but in those high inspiration times, really source that inspiration and you know, and store it for
a rainy day. I like that. It's a really good point. I've got so many voice notes of like, you know, little melodies and things like that. And for me, a lot of the time, because I do a lot of commuting on my bike, I'm out in the fresh air, I'm riding, and I find I'm like, whatever, and I'm like, and I pull out my phone and I'll be like,
you know what, that's probably more sane than when I do it and I'm on the tube. Because everyone knows that in London there's no, you know, reception on the underground except maybe between stations, you know, on stations. But and I'm on my phone and I'm just kind of like, what is it doing? You know?
And people on the tube are always suspicious.
Super suspicious, especially in London, man. Oh my goodness. So I'm always that guy, man, unfortunately. But, you know, it's got to be done. Exactly. I have to be bold about it. Like, well, I know what I'm doing.
Mate, let's talk about like protecting your rights as a songwriter or as a producer. This day and age, like of you know, intellectual property, and there's labels at the door, and there's publishers involved, and there's managers who want this and that, and everyone wants their piece of the pie, right? So how do you protect yourself when it comes to your ideas, when you're collaborating with people, but also just like maintaining integrity within the industry that can be such like a bit of a wolf den type of thing? but then still coming across as a nice, approachable guy?
Yeah, that's a tricky one. You know, I feel like in most cases I'm the nice guy, and you know my management or my publishers are the ones that will handle all the not so nice kind of conversations and whatnot. And I think it's always good to have that kind of thing, even if it's not a formal manager, but have someone that will maybe have those really not nice conversations on your behalf, just so you always have the you're just always the guy that everyone wants to talk to and work with, you know. I think it's good to have that separation.
But if you're not at that stage yet, so you're at a stage now where you are managed and you are published, and you do have a team that are, like you say, willing to have those tough conversations, and you maintain, you're like, but what happens when you're starting out?
I actually did have friends that would just make certain phone calls on my behalf when I was starting out.
Wow, that's cool.
And I'll look after, you know, Jungleboi. That's like, all right. Which they were for that particular thing. Because you know, managers aren't always like, you know, this really big name or anything like that. But at the same time, it is good to have, you know, business things in place and to have some of those conversations. So when it comes to splits, I believe in equal splits for whoever's involved in, you know, making a song in the room. I kind of like saying that sometimes from the get-go, and just because it just puts everyone at ease, and you know that you're not in this place where you have to fight to get your lines in the song, you know, and I think that's more conducive to great songs and great, you know, collaboration. Because you know, there's naturally always going to be people that are more, you know, front foot, more alpha, more this idea is the best, and and like that's all good, but I think you're more open to, you know, other people putting in things and changing your ideas and whatnot if you know that this is not what's going to determine how much of the song you're going to get. You know what I mean? And so and the truth is sometimes, you know, you're in the room and you're only going to contribute a little bit to the song, and there's times where you're going to be the biggest contributor, but you know, everyone has days. We'll have good days and not so great days. But when you have the system, I feel like, you know, you're just always in the place of whatever's best for the song wins.
I think that puts less pressure on everybody in the room then, doesn't it, as well?
Absolutely.
It's like, oh, I've got to get my bit in, I've got to get...
I really don't like that kind of setup, and I've seen things go very wrong with that. No, I believe in fairness in terms of you know, like just hear out everybody, listen to them, and, you know, be open to what even the littlest writer in the room is saying, and, you know what I mean, and because when I look at some of the really big people that collaborate a lot, they even do that, and I'm like, you know, if they can do that, why can't I
why
do
am
that?
I not doing it?
Do you know what I mean? Like, why do I think my ideas are so great that everyone else has to just follow my lead? I mean, there is times when, you know, someone goes on a vibe, but you have to be good enough as a writer and a producer to realize that, oh wait, someone's onto something with this particular song, and kind of follow their lead and just, you know, fitting in and around them to kind of, you know, make it work. Like, I think that's what you need to do with every song, but not be the kind of person that, you know, in every song it's like, I'm going to be the one that's... Why?
You're not the lead idea person. I like that. It's more of a humble and an approachable approach to a collaborative session.
And it's just the results are always so much better. And at the end of the day, when, you know, that song goes out and wins a Grammy, like, you're all winning Grammy. You're not going to get a bigger one because you're the
all
biggest
Grammys are the same size.
You know what I'm saying? It's like when they recognize the writers, they're recognizing you, they're recognizing you. Even if you had your little 1%, you're still being recognized on that song. And
as a Grammy winning song.
You know what I mean?
That's good.
When the song becomes number one, it's the same thing. When the song, obviously, you know, the monies will be different, you know, but like, so I'm like, let's just get rid of all that and let's just get the best song possible. And
let the song be king.
Let the best ideas win.
Good lesson for all of us, definitely.
Oh man, it is.
What's been one of your biggest struggles working in the music industry?
There's been so many. Like, one that always stands out is, you know, it's like you make stuff and you feel like the stuff's great, and then you play it out to people, they love it. Then you hear albums come out, you know, like you write some songs for, I don't know, Demi Lovato, Selena Gomez, whatever. Like, yeah, this would be amazing for her. You know, send the songs to A&Rs or, you know, send them around as much as you can, pitch all of that. Nothing gets taken. And then you hear the albums come out and you're going through the songs. Naturally, you're going through them to see if they're all better than what you sent.
Right.
You know, and if they are, you know, you can see, like, you know, it's cool. I just got to write better songs. But then sometimes you hear songs like in your head, you're like, this is not great.
Yeah.
But this, what I sent was definitely much better than this. And I think that's a struggle for a lot of people. And unfortunately, you know, a lot of the songs never get to the right person for them to hear them. And sometimes they might have heard them, but who knows what mood they were in. And, you know, something's happened with their kids and mad at their wives and da-da-da. And it's just like, you know, your song's playing in the background and, you know, it's not the best time for them to hear it. There's so many different reasons why, you know, songs don't get cut. And like, you know, unfortunately, there's a lot of politics as well in music, and so sometimes, you know, that for certain producers, big producers, they might just pay them up front to work with them on songs, you know, thousands of pounds. And so, you know, they go out, work with a certain producer for like a week, 2 weeks maybe, come up with 4 or 5 songs. Don't know if we really like any of these, but we've already paid so much, so we're gonna have to take 1 or maybe 2 of these songs because they've already been paid for and they've been done by this big producer, and then they end up on the album.
There's a lot of like politics surrounding all of that.
A lot of politics and whatnot, and so I don't feel like the best songs necessarily always win when it comes, and so you can really tell when you listen to certain albums.
That's a big challenge.
And so that constant disappointment is like, that's a big thing to overcome. But
then you still retain all your rights to the songs that don't go out. So have you ever been in a case where, okay, so it didn't make it onto so-and-so's album, but it's made it onto another?
That's happened quite a few times. But at the same time, sometimes the songs will just continually get turned down for a long time and then only get cut after maybe a few years.
Wow.
You know,
it's a long game, isn't it?
It's a long game, man. It's a long game. And so you just have to really, you know, believe in what you're doing and it's going to work out at some point.
Gosh.
So it's it's a tricky industry, you know. You have to be very tenacious and very resilient, you know, thick skin and be able to be quick with picking yourself up again because there's a lot of disappointment.
Yeah.
There's great moments.
Yeah.
But there's many moments where, you know, you just get shut down. What's important is how quick you come back up. As in, you know, okay, fine, that didn't work out. Like heartbreak, disappointment again. But okay, I'm gonna make a new song, and you still go in with that same attitude of this is the best song ever, rather than like I'm just gonna try, see what happens. Because you know, once you put yourself in that state of mind, the songs will reflect that too.
Wow, right. So it's all like maintaining a positive approach to the next song. That
mental health part of it is very important.
Man, mental health, like, I mean, a bit off topic for what we're talking about, but like it's so like, I mean, as songwriters, creatives,
we so vital, man.
We do this, we do that.
So core to everything we do, man. And like, and the whole, you know, looking for affirmation from like, you know, your colleagues and the whole industry, like, oh yeah, validation, this is good enough, like, we're taking this, we're having this on this album and whatnot, and then when it feels like when you're not having these songs put on these albums and this and that, you start questioning, you know, am I good enough? Are the songs good enough?
Yeah.
But, and the problem is we don't really ask so much of other songs good enough, and you start looking at yourself, you're like, I'm not good enough, I'm not this, I'm not that, and then you start telling yourself all these negative things, and that drives you into, you know, depression and anxiety. Like, artists and producers are the most anxious people I've ever met.
Really?
Yeah, there's some of the most anxiety and stress I've ever seen anywhere.
Wow, man.
You know, and then they deal with it in all sorts of ways.
Yeah. And that's like, that can be the challenge for us and anybody out there, is like learning how to deal with knockbacks. Learning how to deal with anxiety, as you say, and the stress of what we do, but finding ways to manage those emotions. Things like outlets. Like, what would be a non-musical outlet for you?
I love watching documentaries, like, on a lot of things. I love retaining knowledge on the most random things, you know, from like, you know, how long a fish can do this for and to
Are you a fact guy?
you know what I mean? I am one of those guys. I just love learning whatever. For me, that's what I do when I'm just trying to go away from music.
Yeah.
And and I find that really, really helpful. I love movies as well, but I'm probably more documentaries. Like I do watch a lot of those.
Yeah.
I don't listen to a lot of music outside of the studio in general.
I've always said like half the approach to this game is being a nice, approachable human being.
I think that's always important.
Yeah, because like no one wants to work with like idiots.
No, and regardless of how talented you are, man, if you really are an idiot, like people will start moving away from you.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, one thing I've always believed, you know, in whatever you do in life, it's like you're always gonna have to deal with people. So, you know, I think it's very important to invest into people and learning and understanding how people work and just being great with people, because if you can be great with people, you'll like pretty much, you know, do well, I think, in whatever you do. And it doesn't mean being fake and whatnot, it's just understanding how, you know, people are. So sometimes it's like, he's that kind of person, so maybe I might have to be a bit tolerant with this kind of thing. I have to be a bit, you know, because there's people that will be like, no, well, this is just how I am, and then I'm like, well, whoever said how you are is like, you know, the epitome of, you know, being a human being. And like they almost make it like how you are is, you know, is so inbuilt into your DNA and you should never change, it's perfect. It's like how you are is not, you know, perfect. It's always growing, and it should always be growing and learning new things
and adapting
you know, and changing and adjusting. You know, it's so whenever people say that, I'm just like
cool, man.
I don't even want to hear it. You know
keep
what I mean?
It's like
you know, everyone is a certain way, but we can all, you know, shift and maneuver and adapt and grow and become better. And the quicker you learn that and the better you become at it, you just have, you know, amazing relationships with people. And especially in this industry, man, it's not that big. There should always be people that you've known for years. Like, you know, I know of a lot of people that I can say I've known this person for, you know, more than 10 years and that person in. But there's on the other hand, there's people that can't say that about anyone, really. Because they're always, you know, falling out of relationships.
Wow. If you could go back in time and sit down with young Jungleboi Jr. And you retained all the knowledge that you know now about everything, music and songwriting and all that, what would you tell your young self?
I'd definitely be like, just be yourself. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing. You know, just follow your own path and follow that unique originality that you have. You know, you don't have to do the same sound that Timbaland's doing, that, you know, Pharrell, the Neptunes are doing, and all those, you know, people that were there at the time and that were, you know, shaping the sound and culture of what was, you know, pop music, urban R&B, that kind of stuff. Is, you know, just do what you're doing, and that could be that too. I'd definitely say that. I'd tell myself to start releasing songs from all the way back then and stop holding out, you know. You know, it's
big advice.
Because so many years later, your first release is still not going to be the one that's going to get you, you know, the accolades and, you know, have the whole bounty. It's like, but if I had started putting out stuff then, you know, who knows where I'd be now and who would have heard my stuff even, because it's not even about it reaching the masses from the first release. It's, you just don't even know who could hear your stuff from the beginning and what collaborations could have come from that. And it just be less fearful, you know, just be really bold and just go out and do it, show people the stuff and just really put it out there. I mean, that would be the main thing, just, you know, the not holding back and hiding everything, but being free with it and just putting it out for the world.
That's awesome. And the cool thing about that is, like, it's never too late for anybody to put any of those things that you've just said into action. Like, it's never too late to just go, I'm putting this song out, or you know, I'm starting today. I'm gonna make one song a month. You know, and that's something that all of us could take note of.
Absolutely.
And, those are really good points, man. So what's next for you? What's happening next for Jungleboi?
So, you know, more collaborations. So I've got a few collaborations that are coming out this year. I've done one with a guy called Sam Calver. He's with Ireland. Really look forward to that song coming out. I got one with Ara Benjamin, you know, who did Running with Beyonce, and he wrote Freedom for Beyonce as well. Powerful song.
Huge.
Collabs with Rehab coming out. EDM kind of pop producer DJ who's smashing it right now, and I think he was the most playlisted artist on Spotify last year. Cool. So great guy. Yeah, and a few other ones, you know, that I don't know if I can really talk about them yet, but they're kind of in the works. Yeah, they're in the works. You know, I don't want to like let the cat out before it's even
understandable, man.
Before it's even in the bag.
Yeah, no, that's cool, man.
You know, but like
but stuff's happening. Which
it's a really exciting year, and you know, I'm looking forward to sharing my music with all of you guys, and hopefully you feel the same way about it as I do.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing, man. You know, you put stuff out there and you're like, it's the best thing ever. And people are like, no, it's not. But you got to be okay with it. You know,
thick-skinned.
And just be like, all right, cool. Well, you didn't get that one. I'm going to hit you with another one. And I try and see it more as, it doesn't mean it wasn't great. It's just, like they didn't get it. But man, just keep putting stuff out, and like if they don't get it, like I see it as like, okay, you didn't get this one, okay, cool, I'll give you another one, and now can you get this one, rather than like, oh, what, you don't think it's good? Yeah, I'm like, okay, you didn't get it, because if people don't get it, there's always people that will get it though.
Yep.
It's just about finding those people and
persevering.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's brilliant, man. It's been so good to chat to you today. I've learnt so much just from sitting here and absorbing everything you're saying. It's
thank you so much, man. It's really good coming on here, and thank you for having me and for blessing me with the sounds,
mate. Yeah, man. We're gonna get into that in a bit.
Yeah.
But thanks again for having me in your space today. And make sure you check out Jungleboi on Instagram. It's Jungleboi, ITS Jungleboi with an I.
Yes. And Jungleboi with an I. Yeah, by the way. Yeah. Is that what you meant?
That's what I said.
You said ITS Jungleboi with an I. I'm like,
Jungleboi.
Okay. Yeah, you're totally right. You're totally right.
That's
my bad. He knows what he's doing.
But, check out the songs on Spotify. We'll link down below to the acoustic version of Sinner Suicide as well, so you guys can check out that song in its raw, organic format, which sounds really, really cool. But once again, I want to thank you guys for joining us today on The Sound Co. Make sure you hit the little red button and subscribe so you get told when new content becomes available. Jump onto our website as well, grab the free sample packs, all that good stuff for your music production that you can get in there today. Once again, keep making great music, and we'll see you next time.
P.S. I'm not sure when this is coming out, but I got a new single coming out February the 22nd.
February the 22nd. New single. What's the new single called?
It is called Hold Me Down.
Okay.
Fire track. Please check it out.
Hold Me Down. We'll see you soon.
Peace.